You're listening to the Blatino Nerd. Uncut, uncensored, unfiltered. Get dirty and keep it nerdy.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Blatino Nerd, and today's episode is about the future. No, not tomorrow, the future of gaming. I am talking about that wondrous reveal we got this past Thursday of Sony's next-gen console, the PlayStation 5. And today I'm going to talk about my initial impressions of the console, the titles that have been revealed so far, which ones I'm excited for, which ones I'm on the fence, and we're just going to go through the whole thing. So if you didn't get to see the reveal, pretty much everything you need is going to be in this podcast. If you still want to check it out after, you're more than welcome to. Everything here, of course, is just my opinion. No need to hang me at the stake. But here we go. Anyone who knows me knows that in this quote-unquote console war, I tend to be neutral, as I'm a big fan of the Xbox and the PlayStation, and I'm a Switch owner as well, and I like both consoles for different reasons. And I know in the modern age, everybody just wants the game, so with last gen, or rather current gen, the PS4 is the way to go because of the exclusives. I like the entertainment aspect of the Xbox, so I lean toward the Xbox. Plus, I'm one of the few people on Earth still using a Kinect, so having voice commands is nice. I know you can use Alexa now, but I paid all that money for that Kinect, and that goddamn adapter, I'm going to get some use out of it. But my love for the Xbox will have to wait, because this one is all about the PS5. And as I said, for those of you who missed it, Thursday, Sony let loose a solid 90-minute presentation of its glimpse into the future. And what a glimpse it was. We got everything from initial launch titles to upcoming games to our first look at the PlayStation 5 and the DualSense controller and all of the accessories. And they dropped the surprise bombshell on us that there will be 2 versions of the console available. A all digital version and a version that plays physical. So I'm guessing that the price point will depend on which way you choose to go. So, the very first game revealed was one I'm already excited for, and that is Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is an expansion of Insomniac's incredible Spider-Man game from 2018. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't played it yet, I've never been a big fan of saying that you need to own a console for simply one game, but if one game is it is absolutely Insomniac Spider-Man. Probably one of the best exclusives ever released on a Sony console. And now I think the Game of the Year edition is $20, so you get the game and all the DLC, which is absolutely worth it. So this was already huge for me because, small spoiler, if you played the original game, you knew this was the direction they were heading in anyway. And it looks absolutely incredible. It seems to not only feature the same mechanics that made the last game so great, but it looks like it looks like an improvement on those mechanics. The visuals are beautiful. I am over the moon for this game, and I mean, this was only the very first game revealed. There were at least 20 to 30, and one thing you have to know about me, the only Sony console I have ever bought in its initial launch was the PS3, and I shelled out for that $600 one. You know the one. And anybody who remembers the PS3 launch knows that you pretty much paid half a grand or over half a grand to watch Spider-Man 3 on Blu-ray for 3 or 4 months. The launch was absolutely disastrous unless you were a Madden fan or you cared that much about Resistance. Fortunately, they were able to recover from that launch, and we all know how the PlayStation 3 went. So many classic games up there, including a series that I stand for, and I don't normally use the term stand, but I stand for the Uncharted series. I have played those games back to front, front to back, in reverse order, on the hardest difficulty. I'm super close to at least platinuming or earning the platinum trophy for Uncharted 4. But yeah, the PS3 was able to bounce back. But yeah, knowing that Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to be a launch title has already secured that Sony is getting my money day one, and I have never ever been a fan of buying consoles launch day. I think maybe the Wii, the Switch, only because I was sitting on a shit ton of store credit and I was like, may as well. But yeah, this is definitely a day one purchase for me. And if you guys have not checked out the trailer, it is all over YouTube. I am pretty sure it's been slathered all over Facebook. You guys have definitely got to check this one out. Also, releasing with the PlayStation 5 is a new Ratchet & Clank game, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Also developed by Insomniac, who seems like they've been busy the last few years or so. This one, Ratchet & Clank, another great long-running series dating back to the PlayStation 2 era. Anyways, let me get out of that because the PS2 will probably get an episode all of its own, because I think we all know how amazing the PlayStation 2 is. It deserves its own thing and not just a blurb. So Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, it looks like a new direction of sorts for the franchise, but I'm excited to see where this goes, because even the worst Ratchet & Clank games have been really good, so there's really no such thing as a bad Ratchet & Clank game. So I'm excited to see more of it, and I'm hoping that more is revealed as we get closer to the launch of the PlayStation 5, which, as we know, is holiday, which is always holiday. So that's anywhere from any time after Halloween to shortly before Thanksgiving, which is normally what they mean by that. So we'll see. This one I was excited for, a brand new Oddworld game. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I am a huge Oddworld fan. I came across Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. It's the first one in the series, I believe. I was going through downtown Patterson. All the 80s and 90s babies remember when Galaxy and Game Mania were the two hot gaming spots in Patterson. And I'd come across the first Oddworld game at Game Mania, actually, back when it used to double as the Pokemon Center. Shout out to Young. I picked up the first copy. It was around $20. This was sometime after it had come out. And I remember taking it home, putting it in my PlayStation, and my mom comes in. I'm still trying to figure this game out because I'm all of 10, maybe 11. And I remember my mom just coming in and she goes, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "Oddworld." But, I did not like a speech impediment, but I had a really hard time saying words like world, so it probably came out like "Oddworld" or something like that. But and I remember just being hooked immediately. It was like these strange little creatures in this very vast and dark, desolate looking place. And I remember finally finishing it shortly before Abe's Exodus came out. And same thing, except I bought Abe's Exodus maybe a month or two after it came out, so that one cost a little more. But long story short, I've played through all of them. My favorite being Stranger's Wrath, which just re-released in an HD version. I haven't picked it up yet, but I absolutely plan to because Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, to me, is easily the best game in the franchise. But knowing we're getting a new Oddworld game, like the sound that left my body when it was announced, like I am 100% certain I scared my wife. I'm so sorry, Erica. I didn't mean it, but it's Oddworld. I needed it. We're getting the usuals. Madden, NBA, which NBA 2K21 looks incredible, which I can't believe we're on 2K21. I remember NBA 2K all the way back in the Dreamcast days, and now here we are at 2K21. I just hope that this one turns out better than 2K20. I'm sorry, 2K fans, but 2K20 was super disappointing. But those of us who play the WWE games don't need to tell you how much 2K dropped the ball last year. So, we also announced that we're getting Grand Theft Auto 5 again for the 8th year. I mean, shout out to Rockstar. They hit a gold mine with Grand Theft Auto 5. And it seemed like what started as a good idea on paper in GTA Online has just taken on a life of its own and has become such a huge thing that while I'm sure Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to happen, it doesn't need to right now because Rockstar is making a killing with GTA 5 and GTA Online. So much so that currently, and no, I'm not being paid to advertise this, if you are a current GTA 5 player on PlayStation and you have PlayStation Plus, I believe every month from now until the release of GTA 5 for PS5, you're getting $1 million every month for doing nothing. That's incentive enough for me to get back into it. I haven't played in quite some time because I wanted to try my hand at Red Dead Redemption Online. And yeah, I think I'm going to be getting back into GTA Online very, very soon. And I know everybody, I've seen the memes, and I know everybody's like, why is GTA 5 happening again? And my thing is, as long as it's not a full price game again, I don't really see the issue. I mean, I guess it's milking it for all of its worth. I'm not paying $60 for a game that I've played on literally 6 consoles before it. I'm pretty sure because I had it on 360, I had it on PS3, I had it on PS4, well, have it on PS4, I have it on Xbox One, and I have it on PC. Okay, so 5, but only because I don't own a Mac. I would probably have it for Mac, but yeah, if they're asking $60 for this game again, then that lies my issue. Because why? Why? But anyway, another good game, well, another good looking game that seems to have piqued a lot of interest and finally seems to be making its way to stores years after its initial preview is Strays. I'm still not 100% sure what the game is about. I just know you play as a cat in a world full of robots. I know the game was revealed all the way back in, I want to say 2015 or 16. And it looks like with the PlayStation 5, it's finally going to see the light of day. It looks beautiful. I mean, the robot world, it looks kind of post-apocalyptic or kind of Neo-Tokyo-ish. So it has that vibe going for it, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. So I'm looking forward to more info and maybe gameplay footage on Strays. Then we got to what to me was one of the, not the biggest highlight because that was Spider-Man in my opinion, but one of the biggest highlights, Resident Evil 8. If you guys know me, you guys know I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I've even played all those shitty ones. Here's looking at you. Outbreak. Survivor, all those. I've played all those. And this one seems to be taking a new direction because it looks as if series hero, got a little tied up there. Series hero Chris Redfield seems to be the villain this time around. I'm sure there's some logical explanation or some amazing plot twist because Resident Evil does pull off the plot twist well. And Resident Evil, the franchise as a whole, has come off of a fantastic few-year run with Resident Evil 7, which is looked at as the game that revived the franchise. It's the Pulp Fiction to the Resident Evil franchise. If you don't understand that reference, it's Pulp Fiction is the movie that is often credited with reviving or saving the career of John Travolta. And we all know after the lackluster response to Resident Evil 5 and the absolute thrashing Resident Evil 6 suffered, Resident Evil 7 was seen as the much needed kick in the ass to the franchise. I got to play it in VR. Never again. That's a big ass nope for me. But I loved the game. I loved every second of it. And Resident Evil 8 is continuing on in that first person perspective, which I think really helps in a game like Resident Evil because the scares were aplenty. And we've also in that time had the amazing Resident Evil 2 remake, which was rebuilt from the ground up and was nearly superior to its counterpart, which is very, very hard to pull off. The only other remake I see that even comes close to that is the Shadow of the Colossus remake for PS4, which was also near superior to its original. And the Resident Evil 3 remake, which I have yet to finish because Nemesis keeps slapping me around like a 5-cent hooker, but my determination won't let me take it lying down, which I probably should because I started the game on the highest difficulty because I am a glutton for punishment. And I am being punished, believe you me. So Resident Evil 8 seems to be continuing that trend of great Resident Evil games, and it's one that I hope can continue because, well, it wouldn't be a console generation without a Resident Evil game. We've had one in every generation since the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn. Yeah, so here's to hoping RE8 Village, which is the title of it, by the way. RE8 Village is the Resident Evil game we've been waiting for. Also in that awesome PlayStation 5 presentation, we had, which is kind of one of my favorite things about gaming, the smaller, like, niche titles. Like, I'm a big supporter of, like, indie games and kind of, like, these weird niche titles. Like, especially for Switch, I have so many of them, like Gun Pixies, which, and Google it, I swear to God, this is real. You play as pixies, and your job is to get college girls aroused. But they cannot see you, otherwise your mission is over. This is a real thing. Google it. I promise you. Bendy and the Ink Machine, A Hat in Time. There's a few others in there. I'm thinking Moving Out is a good one, but I enjoy the smaller niche titles, and there doesn't seem to be a shortage of those coming up. One in particular that caught my eye was Goodbye Volcano High, which I was disappointed to discover had nothing to do with the movie Volcano High, which kind of makes me sad because Volcano High is one of my favorite movies ever. In any version, the original uncut Korean version, which is over 2 hours long and great, or that MTV version we got years ago where they got a bunch of famous rappers to voice dub all the characters, and they cut the movie's length in like half. And while the MTV version isn't a great masterwork of cinema, it's worth it to hear Lil Jon as the villain. Well, as one of the villains. Andre 3000 was the voice of the main character. Yes, this is a real thing. Actually, my cousin and I used to quote that movie all the time. And going back now, it's so cheesy. But if you can find it, if you can come across the MTV version of Volcano High, look it up. You won't regret it. If you can find it, watch it. It's hysterical. But yeah, I was disappointed to discover that it didn't have anything to do with the movie, but the music immediately caught my attention, and music in video games with me is a big thing. That's part of the reason that Jet Set Radio is my favorite game of all time, because the music is just unforgettable and will have you singing along all day. And the art style, which I'm hoping that is the art style of the entire game and not just the trailer, because it looked cool and it has my attention. I don't know anything about it aside from what I've seen in the trailer, but it still looks like something that I would play. Bug Snacks was another one, which was made by the guys who made Octodad. And if you've never played Octodad, I strongly suggest you do it, but be ready to be either amused or annoyed. That's really the only way those games can go. They'll either make you laugh or they'll make you want to toss your controller. But Bug Snacks takes place on an island where every bug seems to be food. Like strawberries, burger bugs. And when you eat them, you seem to take on whatever power or shape they possessed. So it looks like it has elements of Octodad as well as Mega Man, and it also it's kind of reminiscent of Knack. For the 5 people other than me who have played Knack, I get that vibe from it. So it looks like it's going to be fun, and it's adorable. The trailer was just so cute. Even like my child, who has the attention span of, well, a child, saw it and she was just like taken aback, and my wife's like, "Are those strawberries?" And I'm like, "Those are strawberries." So so that seems to be, I don't know if it's a launch title. I'm hoping so. I'm assuming that every game that was announced to be released holiday 2020 is a launch title. I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter because I know Spider-Man is, so the rest of them can come out like the day before Christmas for all I care. But I'm assuming that every game that was revealed holiday 2020 is a launch title. I don't know for sure, but I guess we'll know as time comes closer, because we still need to know more specs on it. I mean, we got what makes it tick. We got the design, but we all know we're waiting for the price and the pre-order information. And as I stated at the beginning of the episode, they surprised us by revealing that there are 2 versions available. There will be a physical and an all-digital version, which would determine the cost of the console, I suppose. Now, I know in an age where digital gaming has become the wave, like most people don't buy physical copies anymore, I, for one, am going to spring for the physical version because I'm old school. I like the feel of having a physical copy of a game in my hand if I can help it. Plus, if I buy a game digitally and it sucks, I'm always mad because I'm kind of just stuck with it. At least if it's physical and I don't like it, I can do something with it. I can give it away. I can sell it. I can trade it in. You know, a fraction of what I paid is better than just being out the $50, $60 to begin with. But like I said, more importantly, I'm old school. I like the feel of physical media. I still buy actual books. I've yet to make the conversion to e-readers. If I can help it, I'll buy games physically, except for like indie titles, which I know are only available digitally. I still buy CDs. Granted, I do have streaming services. I do have Apple Music. Netflix and Hulu are widely available. I have accounts for both of those, but I do still buy DVDs. Well, mostly Blu-ray. But I'm a fan of physical media. I like it. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I know it might, because who knows, the generation after may make it mandatory to only buy digital games. So we'll see where that's going. Another cool thing, well, what I think is one of the coolest things about this console is that controller. When I first saw the controller like a month or two back, I was like, there's no way this is a real thing. It looks like, I don't think you guys have ever seen the Max Steel movie, so you probably won't get the reference, but it looked like the thing that followed Max through most of the movie. And I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, someone destroyed a perfectly good claptrap to make this controller. Poor claptrap. And then I looked at it again during the reveal, and I was like, you know what? This is really cool. This is really fucking cool. I like this. And I also just learned, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but the textures on the controller are not just like indents to give the controller texture. They are actually the triangle, square, X, and circle buttons etched into the controller, which I just learned last night. And I don't know if you guys knew that. If you did, kudos. If you didn't, yeah, that's a thing you know now, because it's something I know now. But those are actually the triangle, circle, X, and square etched into the controller. So it's not just somebody poking holes in the controller to give it texture. I think that is amazing. And I know they're called triangle, box, circle, cross, but literally no one I know calls them that. They're triangle, square, circle, X. That's the way it's always been. Box. Who looked at this controller and was like, well, that's definitely a box, and that's certainly a cross? No, someone looked and went triangle, circle, square, X. That is what I'm sticking with. I'm not calling it box. I'm not calling it cross. They're square and X. Now and forever. But the one aspect of the PlayStation 5 we are all waiting for is the price. I know there's some ridiculous thing online now where it can cost $700-$800. No, I don't think that that's going to be the price at all. I don't even think it's going to be anywhere close to that. Sony has stated on numerous occasions that they made a huge mistake charging $600 with the PS3. So I don't even see them hitting the $600 range, because, again, out of Sony's own mouth, they see no point in doing that. I would say $450 to $550, depending upon which version of the console you decide to get. I mean, it's going to hit the $600 mark anyway, because I know a lot of you are going to buy the console, the headset, an extra DualSense controller. You're probably going to buy that remote right out of the gate. So it can hit $700 easily with all the accessories. But I don't think the console itself, $700 or $800, that's a PC at this point. And I mean, I get it. Most video game consoles now are eventually reaching or trying to reach the pinnacle that is PC gaming, but I don't see a $700 or $800 price point. I don't. And personally for me, I have to wonder how PlayStation VR is going to play into this. They did reveal a new camera, so I'd like to think that PSVR is going to be a thing with this one. I don't see them just putting the kibosh on the PlayStation VR so quickly, especially when they have games like Iron Man, and I believe they're making a sequel to Blood and Truth, and Half-Life Alyx is rumored to be hitting PlayStation VR very soon. I know Vader Immortal is, And those of you who own a PlayStation VR, when Vader Immortal comes out, I highly recommend it. I have it on the Oculus Quest. I do own an Oculus Quest. And it's a very story-driven Star Wars game. And it was in 3 episodes. And you basically play like an apprentice, I would say. His allegiance isn't really clear straight out of the gate. And I still need to finish episode 3, but knowing that PlayStation VR owners will get to experience Vader Immortal makes me happy, and I think, you guys should definitely check that out when it comes. Half-Life Alyx is another one. I maybe only got through a solid 45 minutes of the game, but that's another incredible game that, again, should bless everyone once it's dropped on PSVR. And with all that happening, I don't see Sony dropping PlayStation VR out of nowhere. I'm just curious as to whether they're going to make the current headset compatible, or if they're just going to do a complete overhaul of PlayStation VR. I mean, I'd like to think that it's either or. If you didn't own a PlayStation VR, the PS5 may give you incentive. If you already have one, you should just be able to carry it over. But I'm interested in the VR aspect. Another big one for me is I am one of the few faithful remaining Rock Band players. I need to know what Harmonix's plans are for Rock Band 5, if there's going to be a Rock Band 5, or forward compatibility, because I've got, and anyone who has played with me will tell you, I've got a solid 12 years worth of DLC. I think over the course, like since the release of Rock Band 1 up to Rock Band 4, and as recently as last week when they dropped the new Breaking Benjamin track in Rock Band, I've spent close to $800 or $900. I may have even hit the $1,000 mark over the years buying Rock Band DLC. And I know for a solid 97% of you, this isn't going to matter. I know that. But for me, it matters, damn it. Rock Band is still a very, very big part of everything I do. At least when I have friends over. When I'm by myself, I'll jam out to a couple tracks on guitar. But my Rock Band parties of the past were like the place to be. We'd all crowd in either my bedroom or my mom's living room. We'd get drunk. We'd play Rock Band for hours. Life was good. I mean, I've got at least 3 complete Green Day albums in my Rock Band playlist, a shit ton of A Day to Remember, some Suicide Silence, some Bring Me the Horizon, 311, Lizzo, Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg. I've got all of that in my Rock Band library, and I don't see myself saying goodbye to it just yet. So I'm interested to see if there's any plans for Rock Band or any kind of rhythm game in general for the PlayStation 5, because rhythm games are my forte. They're right up there with fighters for me. That's a fun fact about me. Fighting games and rhythm games are like my absolute... That's my shit. Like, those are my jams. That's what I do. Street Fighter, Tekken, King of Fighters, Skullgirls, Blaze Blue, even Persona 4 Arena, all of those. Rock Band, Guitar Hero, DJ Hero, Drop Mix, the 5 or 6 different rhythm games available for Switch, even on Oculus, Beat Saber, Audica, Box VR. Anything rhythm-based is always going to have my money, as long as it's good. I don't just shell out for a rhythm game because it's a rhythm game. It's got to be good. Got to be able to hold my attention. What's another thing? Well, I mean, now we're just waiting for an actual release date. Any news on a pre-order date? When and where you can pre-order? But I think the release date and the price are pretty much like the big titles, not the big titles, the big things that we're waiting for now. And I don't know about you guys, but the possibility of, well, now the 100% assurance of Spider-Man being a launch title makes it a day one purchase for me. Like I said, I don't normally do day one on consoles, but the PlayStation 5 is definitely going to be a day one purchase for me. Mostly because my kid will kill me if there's a new PlayStation game with a new Spider-Man game and I come home without it. Like, I'm pretty sure my child will hate me forever and a day. And I don't want that. And this is pretty much it. Now we just play the waiting game. We wait for more news. We're supposed to hear more news in the coming months. So myself, much like you guys, will sit and play the waiting game. Because the PlayStation 5 is almost upon us. The future is almost here, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? Because I am. So, on to Jordan's words of wisdom before I get out of here and let you all return to your normal lives. Thank you for taking these past 30 minutes or so to sit with me, rant about, as usual, all things nerdy. And I know times are crazy right now with everything going on. And normally I always said I wouldn't do these types of things. But I just want to let you know that it gets better. It doesn't seem like that right now, but it does. And I know times seem dark, and myself included, a lot of people have felt the weight of everything going on, and it seems like the road ahead just seems to be getting darker and darker. I am here to tell you that is not the case. Keep pushing through. Keep getting there. We've worked so hard to be where we are right now at this point in our lives and at this point in history. We've worked for this. We've earned this. We deserve this. Not just me, not just you, everyone. And I know this just seems like this is going to be it. This is what this year is going to be remembered for. We're only halfway there. We've got 6 months left. We can make this a thing. Remember, the Cavs were down 3-1 before they came back and won the championship. For all you LeBron fans out there, you know at some point on my show, I had to do it. I had to make a LeBron reference. I still think MJ is the GOAT, but LeBron has his own place in history. I mean, yeah, again, we've still got 6 months. This doesn't have to be the be-all, end-all of 2020. This can be looked at as the turning point. This can be looked at as where life got better. Not just this year, but all of it. This is where it got better. This is where we made our mark. This is where everything starts to come full circle for us. And there's been a few of you on my timeline that I've seen, and I had to post a meme, and I have fallen victim of this. I have been this person, and I'm not going to say any names because, you know, they know who they are, and they know what they're going through, and I know what you're going through. And I just want to say, stay here. Stay here. Stay here. You're needed here. And someone told this to me just the other day. You're needed here. We need you to survive. Those were someone's words to me just the other day. I need you to survive. We need you to survive. To quote my favorite rapper, Tech 9. Don't harm yourself or anyone else. Stay here with us. Your time to shine is coming. Trust. I promise you, this gets better. Thank you for tuning in to episode 4. I am the Blatino Nerd, and as always, keep it nerdy.